what was happening within the SDR industry, pre-ChatGPT, pre-AI SDRs. And I felt that there was a problem where companies were over automating outbound. It become really generic. It become really high volume. Results had plummeted hugely. So the idea was, why can't we automate that entire outbound process? Understanding what accounts, the ICP, create the messages, look at new opportunities. So the idea was always this kind of AI SDR before AI SDR was a thing. And then I met Venki, who's my co-founder. He was at Salesforce for the last 15 years. So everything was perfect. Good idea, good experience, real problem, great co-founder. So everything was great until it wasn't.
Hey, I'm Vishesh, your host. I'm a 5x founder and CTO. Still building. I also help founders like you ship faster and fix what's slowing you down. More at vishesh.space.
In this episode, we dive deep with Gautam Rishi, co-founder and CEO of OneShot.ai, exploring his leap from a $500K a year career to building a startup focused on solving the toughest challenge in SaaS execution. With 20 plus years leading GTM at SaaS companies as VP and CRO, Gautam brings first-hand insights into why sales teams are losing core skills and why hiring tools and AI alone aren't enough. We'll uncover how blending AI with human expertise is reshaping go-to-market, the GTM mistakes founders keep repeating, and the counterintuitive plays that actually drive results.
Hey, Gautam, thanks for joining me on the podcast.
Yeah, nice to be on. Thanks for having me on.
So you've been in the industry for quite a bit and then you started OneShot. Great domain name, by the way. How much did you, the first question I wanted to ask was, how much did you spend on your domain?
Yeah, and actually it's funny. So we bought the domain in 2020, maybe even 2019. I think in 2020, summer of 2020, before AI went crazy. So this is pre-ChatGPT. So I think actually I need to look at, I'm assuming I think we paid less than $100. So I think we paid like 80, 90 bucks. It's a good question. I don't think we paid, I just bought a new domain for a new subsidiary we're building out within our product. I paid $500 for that. So yeah, I think we paid less than $100, which is pretty good. Yeah. So if all goes wrong, we can sell the domain and make some money.
That's the optimistic founder in you.
Yeah.
And so you've spent a lot of time in GTM. What was the moment? And nice cushy job after 20 odd years. What made you take this leap, and what are you guys doing for your customers?
Yeah. I pretty much started in tech as soon as I graduated. Like I was 21, 2004, I just finished. So it was 21 years ago. And I went straight into an SDR role. I didn't have any expectations. I had no money at university. As with everyone who finishes college, you're completely broke, lots of debt, and you need to get a job. And yeah, I wanted to move. I lived away. I was back home at my parents' house. And I need to get some money. I need to move into like my own place with friends. So I just took the first job that was going. I was actually at a tech company who was hiring for an SDR at the time. And I had no expectations. I just thought, it's just whatever. It'll pay the bills. I would say I fell in love with the role, the tech, the industry, everything on day one. So I was incredibly lucky. Yeah. So Empirics was like a testing software to help companies deal with load on traffic on websites. And then the next day they flew us out to Boston. So it was all a bit like, whoa, I've just finished uni. I'm now in Boston doing training, enablement. So yeah, I just fell in love with tech from day one. And then my career went a very typical route of an SDR to AE, to enterprise AE, to sales director, to VP, to COO. And then I moved to the US and I had a really nice career. I loved it. Like apart from the general stresses of quota but in general, I really enjoyed it. I was lucky. I just loved it. I loved everything about it. The money was really good. The traveling was really good. The meeting the customers, the learning new products, working with great people. And then I just had this itch inside of me, like from probably a young age. Like I only ever saw myself start my own business at some point. And then every time I went for a new job, I kept on thinking, this is the last time I do this job. the next thing I do will be my own gig.
Very cool.
And 15 years went by and I still hadn't started my own gig. And so you have to pull the trigger at some point. And then I kind of had an idea that I thought was good because I saw what was happening within the SDR industry, pre-ChatGPT, pre-AI SDRs. And I felt that there was a problem where companies were over automating outbound. It become really generic. It become really high volume. Results had plummeted hugely. So the idea was, why can't we automate that entire outbound process? Understanding what accounts, the ICP, create the messages, look at new opportunities. So the idea was always this kind of AI SDR before AI SDR was a thing. And then I met Venki, who's my co-founder. He was at Salesforce for the last 15 years. So everything was perfect. Good idea, good experience, real problem, great co-founder. So everything was great until it wasn't. But starting up until that point, yeah, I had the itch. I needed to do something. There was a clear problem, a big market, great co-founding team. Let's go do it. And then I just thought, screw it. I'll just quit. I'll just quit my job. I don't care. If this all goes wrong, I can always get another job. I've been doing this for 15, 16 years. The risk was low from a career perspective. I was still young enough where I could get easily hired. I already have a big network. So for me, the worst case scenario was shutting down the business after a few years.
Right. I'm selling
So the risk was in my head was low. And then I would just go get a job and live my life on expenses again.
Yeah, I have a few friends in the Valley as well who have been in the industry for roughly a similar amount of time frame, and they feel the itch, but they've not been able to take that shot. So yeah, it's always good to see people who've done that. I was on the reverse side of the spectrum. When I graduated 2008, bottom pit of the recession, and I always wanted to start a company as well, and I just did it. So completely reverse. And so you said it was good until it was not. And so what went wrong?
Yeah. It was really good because we were pre-ChatGPT.
Right.
We had picked the market and the problem early. And so we were building the first AI SDR before there was zero, we had zero competition. So we were building, we were signing customers. We were a bit early. So customers like, no, we have our SDR team doing it. And then what happened was ChatGPT blew up overnight, right? As everybody knows. And the first role people felt that they can automate was the SDR role. So suddenly we had the market came towards us. And because we'd been doing this for a year and a half, 2 years, we had a really good website. We had a decent product. We had existing customers. We knew what we were doing. We knew what we were talking about. So everything was like great. And so I didn't even realize at the time how the market hit us. Because we've been doing it for a year and a half, it was almost overnight. Inbound demos went from 15, 20 a month to 100. And I don't think I appreciated. I was like, oh yeah, our social strategy is paying off, or maybe our SEO's kicking in. I just thought it was from our compounding hard work, but it wasn't anything to do with that. It was the market. Just every single founder, GTM leader, especially early stage companies, were thinking, finally some tech. I don't need to hire an SDR. I don't need to employ an SDR. I can just get AI to do it all. And you type in AI SDR, and there was no AISDR.com. There was no 11x. There was no Artisan. There was none of these guys. So we were number one on page one. And we didn't even, this was before AI. And so we just got shit ton of demos and customers, and our price point was 4K a month. So we were signing 50, 60,000 of MRR. Anyone, I was like, yeah, let's do it. And super quick deals. So it sounds great. Everything I'm pitching is like, oh my God, this sounds amazing. What a lucky guy. What a lucky company to be in. But the reality was email had probably already died a little bit by that point. So we were signing these customers. Everyone was up, and we were just using email as a channel. And the reality was email was, I don't want to use the word dead because it's that, but it was injured. It was severely injured. Outreach broke it. Salesloft broke it. Everyone says, oh, AI and AISDRs broke Outbound. It was broken way before that. Like sequencing solutions broke it. People had zoned out to emails, and all AISDRs do is send emails. And so what happened was customers were like, I'll pay you whatever, 3, 4, 5 grand a month, but I'm expecting 10 meetings, 15 meetings, 20 meetings. And some of these companies were pre-product market fit. They had no customer references. They were targeting personas that were incredibly hard. So ultimately, we weren't able to deliver the ROI for these companies. I wouldn't say it was a tech problem. I would say it was like a general outbound problem. Like the tech, I would say was good. I wouldn't say it was like mind-blowingly amazing, but it integrated with all their systems. It built good messaging. It had good prompt customization. We had mailboxes. Like it was good tech. The problem was the channel was broken. So then we faced this huge churn issue. And then you get like pissed off customers. You said we'll get this many. You said, I was like, well, firstly, I would never set that expectation in a million years because you're pre-product market. Yeah. So I would never, so I was always careful to like not say, hey, you're going to get 10 meetings, you're going to get 20 meetings. It was just like, they didn't even know their personas. They didn't know their industries. So they're hoping this magic AI solution solve their fundamental problems as a business. And so what happens with all these AI solutions, they work, maybe get the odd result and the customers are, but they all, like you've seen at Artisan, they're big, they've raised 25, they have huge churn issue. I think I saw a post last week. A customer said they've sent 30,000 emails and got 0 back. They raised 70 million, huge churn issue. And obviously they lied to the VCs. They cooked the books about who was a customer, who wasn't a customer.
Oh yeah, that's all over the news.
Yeah. And we didn't want to go down that route. I've been in tech for 20 years. I didn't want to lie to people. I didn't want to lie to VC. I didn't want to lie. So we're like, hey, we have a huge churn issue and it's nothing to do with the tech. The problem, emails died. People were zoned out. People are getting 50 emails a day. No one's reading these emails. Then you have to get the timing right. And then the messaging. There's so many variables. There's not a play here. So we kind of like went that, but I've condensed that. That problem lasted a year and a half, 2 years, that journey, that piece of like growing to churn, to trying to fix the churn. Like, do we improve the messaging? Do we change our ICP? So that we were in that for 2 years. That cycle, which was rough, which was good, which was rough. Yeah, which was rough. And then we changed the ICP, we changed the product offering. We pivoted like 4 times. Yeah. So it was good until it wasn't good. And then it was rough. Then it was really rough.
So the 4 pivots, what's the final one and what were the 2, 3 ones?
We ended up building like at one point we had a Chrome extension. We built a really good messaging engine. And then we're like, okay, let's just sell this to SDRs. And SDRs would use it for AI messaging within their existing tools like Outreach or Salesloft. The problem was with that was the SDRs loved it, which was great. And it helped them do a better job. But whenever they went for money, they were just told like, this was at a point where they would go to like VPs of sales, CROs, CEOs and say, hey, we've got this great tool, OneShot. We want to use it. It's amazing. And this is a point where every company was thinking about how do we fire our SDR team? So they're going to them like, hey, can you give us 5 grand, 10 grand, 20 grand for this budget? And it was such an opposite place to where those founders were thinking. Like, man, I'm thinking about firing you guys versus like investing further into this tech stack because you've already got Zoom Info and Apollo and Outreach and Sales. And you guys are coming to me every 6 months with a new tool. You don't need any new tools. You need more meetings. So that I think the growth at all costs had started to change. Companies had big, fat 30-person SDR teams. They were all starting to get let go. So that didn't work for that reason. We tried building our own self-serve AI SDR so you can come in, pick your campaigns. It was all really good. We came up with a lower price point. That didn't work because then the SDRs weren't using it. Then we came up with a messaging engine that integrated within your Outreach, HubSpot, Salesloft. So it was pure, you add your contacts to sequencing, will populate the AI messaging. Then you got into this ROI and what was the response rate? Was it good or bad? So we got into that. And then we were just like, email is dead. Email is pretty like, everyone is like, no one is responding to emails. Like you can get lucky. Yeah. But overall, you're facing I think at one point we sent 20,000 emails and got 0 responses. I mean, we're a good, smart tech team. We didn't want to like, why are we building some sort of huge spamming? Venki and myself had no desire to do that. But every good journey leads somewhere, right? And then we kind of thought, what is working for us?
Right.
We had our own SDR team, and our own SDR team was setting up meetings over the phone, and they were really good at it. And we were like, hold on, we're selling a product that's not delivering, but we have a couple of really good people here who are hitting the phones, who are getting loads of meetings. We're like, calling is always a good channel, always has been a good channel. I'm sure as with every channel, it has its challenges. So why can we not offer calling as a service? And the AI calling wasn't an option. It's still illegal. It's an auto dialer, it's a bot. So why can't we use AI to do the heavy lifting, find leads, research, ICP, scoring, scripting, and then have really good humans pick up the phone? And so we decided like, hey, let's do this hybrid. We feel like the market's going towards this hybrid approach, AI, like augmented AI powered humans. So we bet on that about 18 months ago, and it's working really well. So all of the problems we had, we still have problems like with any company, but the channel works, the ICP works, the callers work, the customers are getting meeting, the price point is good. So yeah, and we hire fractional people, so they're not full-time employees. So we don't have that burden of managing training. All of that is done within the product, and it's delivering, and customers are happy.
So you for your sales, you're hiring more fractional than more full-time.
We are 5 full-time employees with about 30 fractional people, 30, maybe even 40 fractional people now.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
And so like, when did you realize you need to lean more heavier towards fractional, and like, what are some of the challenges and things that people should do, like do's and don'ts when hiring fractional folks this early?
Yeah. We had a very specific use case where we wanted to hire fractional people for cold calling. So cold calling is not something you can do for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. I can't run for 8 hours a day. I can go for a 5K run, a 10K run. It's not something you can do every day. So so generally a good amount of time an SDR can cold call for is probably 2 to 3 hours a day. Once you start getting above that, they generally get fatigued, the quality of call goes down, the pitch gets sloppy, they run out of energy. Like with anything, I can't go lift weights for 6 hours, right? I have an optimum amount of time where I can have a really highly effective workout. The same applies for cold call, same applies for any kind of like high energy work, right? I'm not sending an email. This is like rejection, people hanging up on you. You got 20 seconds. It's really high energy, tough work. So we actually only needed to optimize for 2 hours of work for these people. And so for us, fractional was the natural, like, hey, everything's done for you. The training's done, the enablement's done, the lists are done, the scripts are done. We just need you to sit within the platform and speak to people and have a meaningful discussion with them. And so that model worked because we didn't need a full-time hire to call, because we only needed 2 hours a day. So that worked there. The problem with hiring fractional is it's normally a side gig for them. So if it's a side gig for them, they're not fully vested. So you would get some people agreeing to it and then not doing it after a week. Did they really care? Because if they got fired from this gig, would they care? Probably not, because they already have a high income job on the side. So I think like a full-time employee will always be more vested. In sales, you always have a fear of losing your job. It's just the name of the game. That's the industry we all sign up for. It makes a lot of people perform better. I'm not saying that like you should create a culture where if you don't deliver, you're fired. That's a fear-based culture. I think that everyone knows, right? You don't deliver 2-3 quarters in a row. Like your job's on the line. Where I think for fractional, they don't have. motivation, that fear, that they don't care. So those are our big challenges. And we came up with different hiring methods, compensation methods, promotional methods to solve that.
And so what's your go-to channel? Like, are you hiring these fractional folks from LinkedIn or?
We use LinkedIn. We have a good referral system. So we have over 1,000 fractional SDRs available, not like working at all times. LinkedIn. And then we just get a ton of referrals. And people are like, hey, OneShot, they're looking for some really good callers. Yeah, we have a huge pipeline. That piece is quite easy.
And so even without the ownership, you feel like it's still working for you?
We've built a lot within the product. Number of dial, connection rates, conversation rates, types of conversations, meetings, ICP, training, enablement. So we have tech.
Are your customers also, a lot of them following the same playbook? Are you recommending them the same playbook?
Yeah, we do everything for them. We do everything for them from like, they are early stage companies. We're selling, our companies are typically like Series A companies or companies unsophisticated and outbound. So they lean on our platform to come up with the strategy, lead selection. These companies are not experts in outbound, right? Their idea of outbound would be, I'll hire someone, they have no tech stack, they don't know what to use. They don't even know what like an Apollo is. They don't know what email sequencing is. And how do they go and build that, right? What are they going to hire an SDR? That SDR needs training, management, enablement. They don't know. These technical founders don't know how to do that. So they see us as everything.
And so your SDRs call on behalf of your customers, is what you're saying?
Yep.
I thought it's just a tech play. Nice.
No. We have this hybrid. So we have these fractional callers calling for them. Because we pay them fractional, it means that we can keep our costs low to our customers. So effectively, they're getting an SDR, the tech, the AI, the GTM channels. They're getting everything for a lower cost than hiring. And they don't have to worry about enablement, tech stack, hiring, firing, results, performance. Like they wouldn't even know how to do that if it came down to it.
And so is there any specific domain you're focusing, or it's any tech SaaS right now?
Mainly heavily tech SaaS. I'd say anything B2B, we are selective on who we work with. If you target massive enterprises and senior people, they do not pick up the phone. So there's industries which there will be a low pickup rate. If there's a low pickup rate on the phones, we're not going to be successful. So we'll tell customers up front, hey, look, not industry work. Security software companies is a good example of that. They're targeting CISOs, security directors, VP of securities. They never pick up the phone. And if they do pick up the phone, they're certainly not going to be disclosing company information about, this is how they're like, not that we ever get into that level of discussion, but they would never do that. So they're not good at that. We don't work with like recruitment companies, offshore software development, because it's a highly commoditized industry. It's hard to separate one recruitment company from another. I know everyone's the best and they have the best, but as far as customers can, they're all the same. It's not a unique value prop. So we don't work with them because they just don't deliver results. People don't care.
And for your lead flow and meetings, what has worked and what hasn't worked so far?
We are, as per our product, we have 3 fractional SDRs calling for us. They're generating at least 1 meeting a day. So we're getting around like 60 meetings a month, demos, just from our outbound. We have 3 callers. We also do social, like a lot founder-led social. That generates a good amount of inbound. We also are in SEO and AI SEO. So those are the channels we invest in heavily, which typically give us more than enough inbound for the growth we're looking for.
And in terms of, so you when you started, you obviously were stacking up against techs and artisans of the world. Now the positioning is obviously a little different.
Yeah.
Is that noise still lingering? Do people still compare you with a regular AI SDR?
Yeah.
And how do you change that narrative?
Yeah, a little bit. I'd say like we get compared more to agencies. Like, we've used an agent. We probably get called an agency more now. We really have removed ourselves from that AI SDR because like the argument is, okay, great, you can use an AI SDR, all they are going to do is send a high volume of AI generated emails. Is that what they've shown you on the demo? They're like, yes. So they're going to send a high volume of AI emails when they're going to automate LinkedIn. How many of those AI emails have you received today? How many of those LinkedIn? Did you respond to a single one? So immediately everyone's like, yeah, of course I don't. Of course, like I get all of them. Even for me personally, I use Fixer, like Fixer's all these AI email tools. They can just work out if an email's AI generated or if it's sales it, and they just park it into a separate folder. I genuinely, I cannot, I can check now. It's all good. I have a marketing folder. It has 1,044 emails in it. I just checked. 1,044. I haven't even gone in and checked those emails. There's 1,000 of all marketing emails. I've double checked when it launched. Am I getting real email? And they're all, the categorization and compartmentalization filing is really good. So everyone's going to use these solutions. So no one's reading email.
It's like cat and mouse. There are people who are building stuff to bombard you, and then there are people who are trying to protect you. You've mentioned before, today's generation of salespeople have lost essential skills, right? What did you mean by that, and what are you seeing? Like, what has shifted in the industry?
Yeah, face-to-face selling, it has almost completely disappeared for a number of reasons, right? Hybrid work, remote selling technology, people aren't in the office, buyers aren't in the office, sellers aren't in the office. If people are not learning face-to-face skills, that will severely impact their overall sales ability. Like the ability to have a conversation, get into pain points, discovery. A lot of young sellers now, they just don't have that attention span to even hold a conversation, right? You see them on Zoom calls. They have multiple messaging apps open. And I'm not trying to sound like an old man. I have WhatsApp on my laptop. I have Slack on there. I have all of these as well. I equally get distracted by all of these applications, but I'm very conscious of it. I avoid them like the plague. I just don't use them. If I'm in a meeting, I'm in a conversation, I'm actively in that meeting. I just see like people zone out. If they're not the active person in the meeting, they're not listening. They don't know how to close for a face-to-face meeting. They're not suggesting that with customers. They want to work hybrid. They're getting distracted by what's out there. So I would say I look at sales and I look at what it used to be and what it is now. And again, like there's a lot of good young salespeople out there who take this profession really seriously. But I also think there's just a lot of people who they're just not a good set of salespeople. They don't know what good discovery looks like. They're over-reliant on call recorders for meeting notes. They're not actively listening to customers. They're not building any relationships. They're not going in face-to-face. They barely understand the tech they sell. Like, yes, I'm categorizing and stereotyping a huge amount of people, and every generation has its own challenges. Yeah. But yeah, overall, I think the technologies made salespeople worse versus improving them. And now there's tech for everything, and there's AI for everything. I realize I sell an AI tech, right? I'm part of the problem. But in general, it's making salespeople lazier.
And so when you yourself are helping startups kind of deploy this fractional team, how challenging has it been to address those issues? Are you guys actively working on solutions around those problems and somehow mitigating it using tech? Although it's hard to imagine. How can you fix attention?
It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. And I think like the human element is so important. Hence why we have a hybrid platform that uses humans. So we understand like tech can give you data,
right?
And tech can be incredibly helpful to uncover insights. Can it do a good job of coaching, improving? I know there'll be a million AI funded tech companies that say they do it. But like, are people genuinely improving because of it? I don't know enough to like say yes or no, but my opinion is probably not. Versus having an experienced person who's spent. I'm 42. I went into my first management role at 28. So I've been building, scaling, leading teams for however long that is, 13, 14 years. I've hired probably over 500 salespeople. I've worked in huge teams. I've fired. I have that experience of like how to coach, how to nurture. I'm not saying I'm the greatest, but I have that 15 years of experience of doing it. I've seen people get promoted. I've put on pips, come off pips and turn into great salespeople. Every single person is different. The way I learn is different to the way you learn. The way that my motivations might be different to your motivations, might be at different points in our lives. So everything is different. So I think you need that like human element. And I think really good leaders can get the best out of their team. And I don't think AI is anywhere near that human development, that emotion, that empathy. I just don't think it's anywhere near that level. Otherwise, you would just say, well, why would you use AI for everything? There's no point in humans completely, right?
And so you've done so much of hiring in the space, right? For example, for like I've done a lot of engineering hiring, and usually a good indicator of someone who's gonna be decent is how early they started. In your case, in 2025, 26, whatever, are there any specific backgrounds or attributes you look for to identify that they would be more likely to be a better listener or have good empathy?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. And I honestly think like AI has changed everything about how we hire now. I think like you're seeing 15-year-olds getting funded and growing crazy companies. And like, I think that age of successful, and I've said like young salespeople, I believe are not as good, like their listening skills are, but I believe the quality of young entrepreneurs is the best it's ever been. Like if I look at, and if I say an entrepreneur is someone who is starting their own business, building their own company, coming up with an idea, executing, I believe that there is the quality of young entrepreneur and owner and founder is the highest level. I believe like someone like me with 20 years experience going up against a 21-year-old, I believe that my experience counts for very little now. Like maybe when it comes to hiring, but these guys are like, they're executing so fast and they don't have families. They're at a young age where they can work 18 hours a day, seven days a week. And they're making that, they're 21 within 5 years, by the age of 26, they'll probably have enough money. They won't have to work again in their careers. And they can do whatever they want. They can do another startup. They can do this. They can have 1 million properties and have a really good passive income. But I believe like there's no better time for a young person to start a company. It doesn't matter if they did. I'm seeing, we work with a lot of, I'm speaking with founders selling AI lab technology. And they don't even have any background in that. They've not even like studied in any of this stuff. They've just found a problem and they probably use ChatGPT to identify the problem. And it is a correct problem. And they're building the correct solution to solve that problem. And they're executing like maniacs, like crazy. And they're just moving so fast. And I believe that is what separates them. And then coming back to your question, man, like, how do you find these good hiring? How do you find these good hires? And maybe this is where someone with experience does have the advantage. I've been hiring for 15 years and I still get it wrong 40% of the time. So I think like having better structure, better systems in place for hiring, having more peer reviews in place, having more assessments without burning out the candidate, obviously, is important. And then, hiring is 50% gut feel, right? You should know from experience, like, so yeah, it's hard. Hiring is always hard. It's the hardest thing a startup can do, right? You get the right person in, they can accelerate the business 10x. You get the wrong person in, and you're letting them go 6 months later, but you've lost that huge advantage now.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you have this human augmented service / product. What do you call it? Do you call it a service or a product at this point?
A hybrid. We call it a hybrid platform because we are not an agency. We don't run like an agency. There's only 4 of us and we have a lot of customers. So if we were an agency, we would probably have to have 10x the amount of employees we do.
Right.
And we use AI for 80%. So we're like a hybrid platform of AI plus human. I would say if you're going to categorize us, we would come under like AI services.
And so with this kind of solution and execution, how do you preserve the human element? I know you said you do a lot of prep work, or your AI does a lot of prep work for the fractional folks, but how do they still, at the end of the day, human is still a bottleneck, right? They have to absorb all that information and make sure they execute. And so how are you preserving that, and what are the challenges there?
Yeah, I think like people need good, smart, hungry people want to learn and want to improve. That's fundamentally it, right? And I think that comes back to hiring. It's that like taking a horse to water. I can take it and it has to want to drink. Like that's fundamentally it, where I can give them the enablement, the scripts, the data. If they don't have the desire to improve, like what am I doing? If they're not questioning themselves, what do I need to do to improve? Why am I not getting that meeting? That was a really good question the customer asked me. Why didn't I know the answer to that? Like if they don't have that natural innate ability to want to self-improve, they will never. That's just a good thing that good employees have. So I think where we've looked at high performing and low performing people, then that like, yeah, okay, great. They've read the AI, they've gone through the modules, they've been enabled, but they're not trying to improve. That every day, every week, they should be annoyed when they didn't get a meeting. They should be annoyed where the customer questioned them on something and they didn't know the answer. And so I think that's a human element, right? I can use AI to listen to the calls, to give them coaching, to understand the data, look at conversation time, look at the questions, look at what the correct answer should have been. I can use AI for all of that. If the person doesn't want to improve, doesn't want to get better, then they'll never improve and they'll never get better. So I think like coming to the human element, it comes down to like, are they curious? Are they curious? Do they want to learn? And that's what's making the difference. Like that, and that is a human thing. That's nothing to do with AI, right? That is 100% a human attribute to have.
And so can your are founders asking you to, like, do you have in your pipeline founders who are interested in using using the platform, but using it for themselves, not adding people on your side, but, you know,
yeah.
augmenting
I'd say
them as
that's happening. There's two bits. Founders will not cold call, right? That like the reality is they won't cold call.
Right.
So they have got higher value like activities.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, not the founders themselves, but, you know,
For their organization, yeah. But it's a good point because yeah. And so what happens is depending on the size of the company, do they have a team in place? Do they have someone who can make calls? Because we our opinion, whether it's right or wrong, we are strongly in the email is dead camp. And I know there is another camp which will say email is really good and you guys just suck at it. And like technically both are right? And whatever. It's just your own experience of it, right? So where we sell to, do they have a resource that can make the calls is the question. That we are moving in that direction. So we're starting to sell the tech for them to use their own people on it. The challenge we find is when you start getting it becomes ownership. So I could sell you some tech and it can be the greatest tech in the world. But the problem is maybe you're a bit of a lazy SDR and you're not going in, you're not doing the activity. Or you're blaming the tech. Like, the data sucks, or this is the wrong lead, my connection rate is low. So we wanted to take the thing and we just own it. We own it end to end. So we own the human, the caller, the data. Once you start, and I believe in this AI world, you need to like own the outcome. As soon as I build the tech and say, okay, now you do the calling. What happens if you take a week off? You go on holiday, you go out for some beers last night, you can't be bothered calling, or whatever happens. We don't now, at this point, we no longer own the outcome. The customer owns the outcome. And then the customer will then blame the tech, or the tech will blame the SDR. So we just like, we'll just own it. Just own the whole thing where we own it. We see what the bottlenecks are. We see what the problems are. We see what we need to improve. Will we end up in that direction? Maybe, probably. But for now, we just want to own everything from top to bottom.
And so, it's been a few years. You've been working with multiple startups. What kind of GTM mistakes do you see people making again and again? What are some of the things that annoy you?
I'm testing outbound and writing it off after like a month or 2 months. Oh, we've done outbound. It doesn't work. And we've sent emails. Outbound doesn't work for us, our channel. Or hiring an SDR and firing them after a month because they weren't enabled. So I'd say, I think this is in general prematurely ending a channel or having an opinion that doesn't work. So I'd say that's one thing. So that can be for ads, social, whatever, SEO, AI, SEO, GEO, whatever. Focus on 1 to 2 channels. I just see people are trying to do everything. They're trying to do social, they're trying to do video content, they're trying to do X, they're trying to do LinkedIn, they're trying to do meta ads, they're trying to do SEO. That's like 9 channels. As a startup, it's great if you've got 50 million in funding and you've got a person responsible for each channel. Pick one channel and nail it and get good at it. I see everyone trying to do so many channels and then they have crazy expectations per channels. Outbound, if it's not generating me 10 meetings in month 1, it's a bad channel. Realistically, outbound takes 6 months to build. Right? But anyone who's done it properly, it takes 6 months of hiring, training, enabling, testing messaging, ICP, what channels work, the upskilling of the person, email, LinkedIn, video content. Just one channel is hard. So yeah, focus on it, have the right expectation, make sure it's a channel you believe strongly in. There's proof that it works with one of your competitors. Set the right metrics up and be patient. And now everyone's like, oh, it's not delivered 100 meetings in month 1, it sucks. And they kill it because they only got 4 meetings in month 1. And actually that's incredibly good. And if you keep compounding on that, by my month 5 or 6, you'll probably have 20 meetings a month.
Right. Probably also because some of them might be not at a stage where they should be executing outbound. Is there in your experience, is there a stage where you should wait for actually setting up an outbound?
Two bits. You could argue pre and post PMF, right? Those are 2 very different stages. So post PMF is, we know the problem, we know the customers, we know the ICP, we know the problem, therefore we know the pitch. So that's post PMF. 100% outbound is really good then, right? Because you know it. You know, I did 20 deals last month with the VP of sales. This is the exact 5 problems they're facing. And I know that's their world. And this is the 5 use cases I'm going to give them to fix that in their world. Outbound, perfect. But then actually there's pre-PMF, which is outbound is really good to understand who are the personas, who are the messages, what messaging is resonating, what are the pain points, experimenting, testing, and validating. So the objective isn't necessarily I want to get 20 meetings per month. The objective is I'm using it to test and validate. So we have 80% of our customers are post-PMF, but 20% are pre-PMF. They're pre-product, pre-revenue. And they literally, I would say they've accelerated their PMF journey by 6 months by using outbound. Because they're able to physically hear what prospects are saying, what people are saying over a phone call. I could pitch you a solution and you could just be like, hey, look, Gautam, this is not a problem for me. I have 4 engineers, they're all fixing this. But I could now change that messaging. Hey, Vijesh, if I said we can remove test cycles by 30% because we see this is the biggest problem within companies your size. You're like, oh my God, this is exactly the problem I'm facing. Now I'm validating that messaging is working with you. Now I'm going to repeat that with another 10 people on the phone. I'm not building products. I'm not having to spend hours with customers. I'm like literally testing it on a phone. So I think it's your expectations going into that outbound. What are you trying to achieve from it? Is it meetings or is it validation? Because both are equally as important.
Yeah, that's a valid point. Yeah, objective matters. So I saw somewhere, I think one of your posts spoke about compensation, and it's a topic I'm interested in as well. So in your team, you're incentivizing engineers. I don't know if you mentioned you have assigned quota or not. I think one of the comments said no. So I don't think you have a quota.
Not yet.
But yeah, you talk us through, how are you
Yeah.
incentivizing your engineers and what's working, what's not working?
Yeah. I believe, again, I believe like engineers, the argument is engineers and salespeople are motivated by different aspects, right? And engineers are incredibly motivated by seeing their code in production and seeing users use that code, right? So we've built stuff that's never made production, and that's incredibly demotivating. So seeing that, like, and engineers are highly motivated by, and they enjoy problem solving, and they enjoy looking at problems, and salespeople are motivated by seeing customers, being in front of customers, closing deals, and earning commission. But engineers, it's a highly paid job. They are also motivated by money. I don't think like so fundamentally like the
Yeah,
salesperson's right.
who doesn't like
Everyone
money?
is motivated by money, right? We live in a capitalist society. It doesn't matter if everyone wants to earn more than they earned last month, right? Yes. Oh, they want to help customers. They want to build better product. Obviously, right, we'll take that. That is the main reason. But who doesn't? Someone offered me an extra $5,000 and I had to do these three, I would probably do it, right? So I'm motivated by money. And I think I felt like there was a misalignment with our business where salespeople were focused on selling and solving problems, which is great. Engineers were focused on building excellent product, but there wasn't alignment. So we were building features and product that weren't aligning to improving sales or improving retention. And maybe that was a problem we had. So now we have we're very transparent on how much revenue we did, what our costs are, what our net margins are, what our pipeline is, where we're winning deals, where we're losing deals, where customers are churning, what our costs are with AWS, with OpenAI, with MongoDB, etc. So we share that on a monthly basis. And then we have a commission in place for the engineers to say, hey, every month, as long as we're retaining customers, we're growing the business, our net margins, our profit is higher, you get X percentage on that every month. So they are now fully, and it's a pretty reasonable amount of cash as well. Like I would say it's like probably above average. So the bonuses are, I'm maybe thinking I'm overpaying. so we're paying really well. As I talk to you now, I'm like, yeah, I think we're definitely overpaying. But again, from a business perspective, well, we're releasing products faster. They're now thinking, will this actually move the needle? Like that customer churned. If I build this feature, they probably would have churned anyway. The sales guys are signing crappy deals, which are always going to churn. So there might be like an ICP issue. So it's making them question our ICP, who we sell to. Will that feature, they're going to want, you can't just build something overnight. You have to do some requirements analysis, speak to some customers, build it. Even saying small is 4 weeks, right? So why invest 4 weeks into something if it's going to do nothing for the business? And so they're thinking like that. And so it's helping. And they're aligned with the product guys, with tech sales.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the money spent probably is worth the alignment wins you get. Do you see the scaling? Like,
Yeah.
do you see scaling as a headcount goes up?
Yeah, I've thought about it. Yeah, I think I've set a really good, I've set a really good expectation. I've said that now. I've probably set a terrible expectation where they want more money every month, which is normal. It's working for the business right now. Obviously, as we hire more people, we scale more people. The pool becomes less. But I think we've kind of like, let's say we just pick a number. Let's just say we did 100K profit, right? Let's just call it 100K profit for these. Let's say we have a pool of like engineers get X percentage. I'm making up another number, so these aren't my real numbers, but like 10%. Let's say the engineers, you get 10%. And maybe there's just one engineer today, right? And let's just call it, okay, you get 10 grand. That engineer will start saying, maybe we have 10 engineers in 3 months from now. Maybe that pool now is like 1 grand. But then if we have 10 engineers, we should have 10x the revenue, right? It should be more profit within the business. So we've allocated it as a pool to the more people we hired. And that makes them question, do we need to hire? Right? Do we need to hire? Will it move the needle? Will it increase the profit of the business? Will it increase churn, retention, decrease churn? Will it increase revenue? So those are the questions everyone should be asking before we hire. Like as a team, we should be, not me, like the whole organization should be asking those questions.
Yeah, I think not many track like revenue per FTE. I think they should,
Yeah.
especially at early stage before hiring a lot. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. All right, we've reached the final section. It's called "Never Get a Cold Email,"
Yeah.
so people can know you better. Although if it goes to you, it's probably going to go to that marketing folder. So,
Yeah.
so I'm
Sure.
not worried about the email. If you had to choose another career entirely, I know you said you landed here and you love
Oh, I would
what
pick
you're doing.
many for it.
So what would you pick? What would be your wildcard pick?
Well, yeah, I would be a professional golfer. That would just be like, I just feel like it's a really good sport where it doesn't necessarily destroy your body. You're outside a lot. That would be my other, and it pays well, and you get to travel the world. I think if we look at it in a corporate world, um, if we look at it from a corporate world, a business world, do you know one day, and this sounds like a fake answer. I actually really enjoy retail. I started early in my career in retail. I worked in a computer game shop, I worked in a phone shop, and I love like retail. So I would
Hmm.
actually like something in retail, whether that's merchandising, buying, something customer facing. I there's something about retail. I think anyone who's worked in retail will know the fun you have on the shop floor, the camaraderie you build, what you sell. I think people see it as a junior role that doesn't pay well, but I think like there's lots of work within retail. So something within retail. I have no idea what, but something within retail.
Right.
Yeah.
What's a book or a movie that unexpectedly influenced your working philosophy, whether it was as someone in the industry professionally or as a founder?
Book. Uh,
Or a
I can't
movie.
remember the name now. I read this year actually. I'm one of these people who can only remember the last book I read. So I probably can't. I can't remember the author's name, but Zero to One.
Oh, yeah.
Peter Thiel. Peter
Peter
Thiel.
Thiel,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was it. Yeah, I just loved it. I love the whole concept of, and he's not talking about 0 to 1 as in 0 to 1 million. It's like, how do you get something from 0 to 1? So it could be a new product. Coming up with a new version of the Apple Watch is not 0 to 1. That's already there. But like coming up with a new smart device, the original version was 0 to 1 or whatever the smart watch is. So yeah, I love that concept of like building and
Yeah.
understanding what to do and how people are doing it and how difficult it is to go 0 to 1. So I really enjoyed that. I read another, again, I'm only mentioning books I've read this week. I can't remember the guy's name. It's a book on resilience.
Hmm.
I actually read that this year. It was a guy, I can't remember the guy's name now. He swam all around the UK, and it took 156 days. And his tongue had like melted away almost because of all the salt water. He was doing 16 hours of swimming a day and then sleeping on a boat. And the UK is a cold country. The oceans are cold. The channel's cold. It took
Yeah.
him 156 days, but he talked about resilience and how to build resilience. I just couldn't help but feel like building a startup, it comes down to resilience, right? So although we're not swimming for 156 days straight, I just felt like resilience is something you learn and build. And I just feel like, yeah, the resilience is just, if you're doing anything in startup world, if you don't have high resilience or you don't have the appetite to build resilience, just don't do it.
Yeah, would check out that book. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, the edge of something. The guy's name's Ross something. The Edge of Resilience, I think the book's called, and
I'll get
it's
it to you offline. I'll get
yeah,
it
yeah,
from you.
it's brilliant.
But
Yeah,
you are swimming. Technically, you are swimming for
yeah,
years as
yeah, yeah,
founder.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's sink or swim.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Well, it was a good chat. I know you have to drop off as well.
Yeah.
Where can people reach you and where can people find more about what I guess I gave
Yeah.
it away early on, OneShot.ai.
OneShot.ai, yeah, easy to remember. I'm on LinkedIn. I post a lot. I share content about sales, our business. So yeah, Gautam Rishi on LinkedIn, OneShot.ai. Hit the website, OneShot.ai. If you're an early stage company looking at doing outbound, come to us, book a demo. We can show you how we do it. We do charge 5K a month. So like we're probably slightly more mature in terms of our price point. So yeah, always take that into consideration.
That was a good qualifier. I like it.
Yeah.
You don't want, yeah, absolutely. Any parting words to founders who are,
Just
who've not
keep
seen
going.
as much as you've seen?
Yeah, I think just keep going, keep going. I think like don't be scared to pivot. Don't pivot too quick, but keep going. I think I think it's so easy to see success, and the new normal is like $0 to $100 million in 12 months, or this company went from 0 to 10 in a month. And I think it's become like, I think everyone talks about how bad TikTok and Instagram is for like young kids, teenagers, because it sets up. I feel like LinkedIn has become that for like business people and founders. Like everyone's over quota, everyone's got the best product, everyone's gone 0 to 1 super quick. This founders, I believe that that's as toxic. So focus on your lane. Don't put any timelines on it. Some companies get it within a week. Some companies take 10 years. I think UiPath took like 20 years, right? And they're like $20 billion company now. So stay in your lane, do what makes you happy, and build.
Create value, make more than you spend.
Yeah,
That's all.
exactly.
Nice. Well, it was a pleasure having you, Gautam, and
Yeah,
thanks for joining me.
perfect. Fish, thanks for having me on. Thank you.
Awesome.
If you found this valuable, you can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. See you in the next episode.